Well, hello there, fellow RVers. Welcome to my channel. Guys, today we're going to talk about putting on skirting on the RV. Basically, I had tanks freezing up, I had pipes freezing up, I had problems happening, and I needed to figure out a way to solve this problem quickly, and I just didn't have time to wait for a custom skirt to be built, and I surely didn't want to have to gather up the whole RV, take it to a place so they could measure the RV, and then bring it back and try to set it back up, all that kind of stuff. We're living in an RV park right now for the winter, so none of those were an option. I needed something quick, fast, get it done now. It just happens to be that this was the best way for that to happen. This application is a do-it-yourself application, but it comes with everything you need. I mean, that's not true. It would be good to probably have a tape measure and some basic tools, basically, but for the most part, it comes with all the snaps you need, everything you need to do a good job. As you're going to see through the course of this video, it did a great job for me and what I needed it to do. Hope you find this video helpful. It comes with some parts and some pieces that I took out. I separated them, I put them into baggies. It also came with some screws, which I am going to try not to use, but I have them just in case. It came with a removal tool, a pencil for marking it, and then some tips. Now this is from Easy Snap, although I'm not sponsored by them. And it also came with this roll. I bought this roll 60 inches long. I bought 114 feet of it. As you can see, they sent it to me in 3 sections, so I'm gonna have to put those splices in places, but they also sent me with some Velcro tape to put those splices together with. And I have already gotten started out here by starting to put on the snaps. I've decided where I want the snaps to go around the RV, and I've started putting them in. But I decided I better stop for a minute and catch you guys up on what I'm doing here. Now, as I go along, I'll try to put as much information in here as I can. They state that you need to be about every 5 inches for this. I'm not going to use the screws if I don't have to. I'm also installing this. It's about 58 degrees outside, and they recommend that you do it at 60 or over. We'll see how that goes. Got to that point. What I didn't show you was the process that I went through of installing the rest of it. So I recognized that I needed to help you with this, so I went back and shot some more video, but I also wanted to take a minute and just talk to you about it. Altogether, it took me probably about 5 hours to put this skirting up from the time I started opening the packaging. Now, that doesn't include recording time. Now, obviously, that took me a little bit extra time because of recording, but overall, the process took about 5 hours. So it's really not a bad install, and considering the price, it's an excellent option for skirting your RV and helping you keep it warm so that you don't have freezing tanks. I was having problems with my black tank in the back freezing, as well as my lines, my water lines to the back bathroom also freezing. So this is one of the reasons that I was doing that. And we're in Colorado. It was dropping down to around 20 degrees and under, and when it was doing that, that's when I was having freezing problems. So a combination of skirting the RV as well as some heat lamps that I installed under there to keep it warm under there. I also purchased a weather station with several abilities to show me the temperatures of where all of that's at. So one of the temperatures I have is outside. One of the temperatures I have is in here in the home. One of the temperatures I have is under the RV next to the heat lamps, and the other temperature is under the RV but not next to the heat lamps. This way I can monitor what the temperature is in the general area under the RV, and then I can also know what the temperature is outside and how much the difference is between them, as well as I put the heat lamps directly under the black tank and the areas that I was having problem freezing. So that's why I began this whole process. And I thought to myself it'd be nice to be able to keep track of the temperatures while I was doing that. So this is what started the process, and now I will continue with showing you some of the install that I did. All right, I wanted to talk about the process of putting on this skirting a little bit more. You saw when I had all of these put on, these are 3M adhesive. So the next thing I did was install these push pins that push over the top, just like that. Once those are installed, you just fold this up over. Now, that was not as easy as just pushing it on like that. What I actually had to do was just push it over it enough to make an indentation, and then I took the knife, just like this, and I pushed the knife onto the tip of it and scored it enough to cut through a little bit. Then I was able to push through, because the vinyl is too thick for you to just push it over. It's not gonna work that way. Once you get that done, then it's just installing the button that holds it on there. Basically, you have to push pretty hard to make sure that the little black thing right here comes all the way to the edge. But once you get to that point, you're installed. The next thing I had to do was, my vinyl did run all the way across to the other side. I actually had to come, once I installed all the buttons, then I came back and ran a knife around and cut out everything. The other thing I did was I sealed up where I had to cut around the stairs so that I could get the best coverage, because otherwise this would have left a hole. So each place where you have got an area to cut, you just need to take a knife, and I just ran it right along the edge of the door right here, door frame, all the way around, and then over, and then the same thing around here. So I did all these cutouts myself. I just ran it up the side of the rail right there, and the same thing on the front. I thought I would take a second and talk about the black tank valve that I created. You can see the handle right there. I created a access panel out of Velcro so I could get to that. And then to get to the other valves, I created a Velcro entrance right here at the poop tube, basically. And there's the other valves under there. You can see that I put a chicken coop heater under here because it's dropping below freezing, and my valves will freeze up, because this is not a 4-season RV. So I have to be cautious about making sure my valves, and then also you can see right there the red line sticking down. That is, and there's a blue one right next to it. Those are my low point drain valves, and those have water in them. And if it gets below freezing, those freeze first, and then the freezing travels from there. So I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm getting to the kitchen sink gray water tank valve right there, as well as the low point shutoffs, keeping those from freezing. And so far, you can see the little white thing right there that's sitting on the tube. That's part of my weather station. It's keeping it about 50 degrees when it was 20 degrees last night. So it's definitely doing its job. I have another one back here by the black tank valve. You can see it here, to keep that from freezing by the black tank valve, because the black tank as well as the black tank valve both were freezing. What I didn't talk about with you guys was how much heat these heat lamps were putting off. Each heat lamp is putting off about 95 degrees at the bulb. Now, depending on the circumstances, that's enough to keep a chicken coop warm, depending on the size of it. Whether or not it's enough to keep the underside of an RV that's 39 feet long, I don't know. We're gonna find out. And especially knowing that it's not completely sealed under there, because I've got gaps, I've got holes, and the way that this skirting works, it's not completely sealed at the top. But I think it's going to do a significantly better job, especially because I'm directing the heat at the sources needed. So where the gate valves are, where the cold water and hot water low point drains are, because those are what's freezing first. and then it's traveling from that point to the rest of the RV, and then I'm having the problems where the water lines are freezing up. So if I can eliminate the low point drains freezing, then that's going to give me a better opportunity to keep the rest of them from freezing. So I'm also directing them straight at the gate valves and under the black tanks, which are the two areas I'm having freezing also. In regards to finding out whether or not this is working or not, I'm going to read from you my handy little weather station. I've got 32 degrees outside that it's registering right now. Directly above the heat lamps, I would say probably 8 inches above the heat lamps, is going to be at 69 degrees right now. Under the RV, overall in a general area that's not next to either of the heat lamps, it's 48 degrees. So that's pretty good. Inside the RV right now, where I'm at, it's 70 degrees. So I'm not sure how well you can see that, but those are the temperatures that are registering inside the RV as well as underneath the RV and outside the RV. Just wanted to kind of give you guys a glimpse of what this looks like now that it's finished, the overall picture of it, so that you guys can see this turns out very nicely once completed. It has done an incredible job for me. Today, as you can see, the snow is out and it is cold outside. It was 7 degrees outside this morning when I left to go to work, and sorry, I'm trying to navigate not falling through on the ice here. As I'm walking around to show you guys what the final product looks like. So anyway, it was 7 degrees outside, and underneath the RV it was 32 degrees in the general area, and it was 52 degrees where the heat lamps were. So those heat lamps are doing an incredible job for me on taking care of keeping things from freezing. So I today am going to empty the tanks. So once I start that process, I'm going to also create a video for you guys on that, because I think that would be something you guys want to know about, emptying the tanks in the winter and what that entails and how to go about that to make sure that you don't freeze your poop tube, because if you leave water in there, you will. So more to come. If you don't mind, like, subscribe. I got more. Thank you.